Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Who grew up tall and proud in the shadow of the mushroom cloud? Reach now, voices can't be heard. Just wanna scream it louder and louder. What the hell we fighting for?
Yeah! What are we fighting for here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, where it's very nice outside, and we have a very nice guest for you today, Kathy Kelly, someone that's laid down in front of the man, literally. This is before we get into the effect of these events on the 2012 election cycle of indoctrination. Like Sierra's putting up an article right now. Huffington Post linked something to Washington Post. How to talk to your children about Osama bin Laden. Like my kids give a crap, okay? I'm just, and I remember when 9/11 happened, you got to make your children feel safe. And same thing, same rhetoric. What they're really saying is we need to re-indoctrinate them into what's going on and why and where, and we're afraid and afeared and what I'm just, what if we had a war and nobody came? What if we just ignored them? What if we just don't care? What if we said we're going to keep our money and you're not going to get it? Kathy Kelly has. Yeah, I'm not paying taxes to warmongering state of, and has gone so far as at Hancock Base just laying down. Tell me about that, will you, Kathy?
Well, there were 170 people who had come to the base outside of Hancock Civilian Airport, Hancock National. With the 174th National Guard, and they are now operating drone planes flying over Afghanistan and also weaponized drone planes. So people up in upstate New York are taking this quite seriously. Their newspaper has given, I think, good coverage of both sides with regard to this argument about whether or not to use drones. And people are mentioning the reality of proliferation. In 1945, there was one country that had the nuclear bomb, the United States. Now look how many countries around the world have nuclear weapons and the dangers that poses. Well, this drone technology is not that difficult to replicate. And it could well be that the United States people would eventually find that other states or maybe non-state groups would be able to create a drone runway and lift a drone off the ground and then control it from someplace far away. And is this the kind of future we want to move into? Is this how we want to secure a safer planet for our children to grow up in? And so I think people were very sane and responsible adults when they gathered in front of this Hancock Field, and 38 of us laid down on the ground and staged a die-in, and we were arrested, and I spent 2.5 days in jail. I did bail out because I think it's possible our court date, since we want a jury trial, might not be until some months from now. But we're going to prepare for a serious trial wherein we can raise the issues, much as we did when we were tried for trespass at Creech Air Force Base out in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we were able to bring in expert witnesses. And the judge actually said he wanted 4 more months to think about the issues. He found us all guilty, but he did take some time thinking about it. So we want people to think about these
Think
issues.
about it for what? For before sentencing?
Yeah, he thought about it before he found us guilty, and then he sentenced us to time served. And he thought we'd be jubilant over his leniency, but we weren't jubilant at all. We really felt that he should have thought about it a little harder and taken a stronger look at how the United States figures in terms of international law and also in terms of constitutional law. We think that we have a right to gather peaceably for redress of grievance. And
this is one thing I want to emphasize the power of what you're doing more than you think. I personally could not possibly care less what the Black Robe says. It's not about them. To get some kind of absolution from them is, stinking thinking right off the bat. That doesn't mean he's not going to put you in jail. Doesn't mean that I just assume you say not guilty. That's my preference. But to think that what they say determines what you did as being right or wrong, it doesn't reflect on you. It reflects on them. So when I look at this thing, it brings back this article, How to Talk to Your Kids About Osama bin Laden. I mean, it goes on and on and on, and it's, they make it up. Oh, my 4-year-old said anything about it. Just, right. Children need constant comforting and frequent reassurance that they are safe. Make sure you do this. Young children see death as temporary. You know, it can be confusing. You got to make sure you scare them into knowing it's permanent. The goldfish is dead. And, you know, I'm going, seriously, it's a PSYOP thing. And where you come in and the efforts that you have, it is to have an impact on people that dissent is not only good, but it's preferable. I mean, it's what maintains our humanity, not what some judge says, not what some label they're going to put on you, whether you got, you know, a record after your name. Oh, okay, guilty, time served, like he did you a favor. You know, he needed to do himself a favor and come out for freedom and peace. And what, you know, I can see what you're doing as being very beneficial. I just wanted to say that because it's just part of the PSYOP from our perspective.
Well, I do think in terms of the security for children, we have to take a look at the world as it actually exists, and the idea that kids are taught to play fair. The kids understand that, and I think if we want to counter terror in our world, we should build justice and be fair to people in other countries, and employ that golden rule when we decide what it is we're going to endorse, and ask ourselves, would we want this done to us? Would we want aerial bombardments and drone bombardments terrifying our children every night?
If you're going to be talking to the kids about death, dying, and destruction and how we got what, you know, talk to them about that little kid that's their peer, like them, that's over somewhere else, that your mom and dad's tax money paid for the bomb that blew them all across the backyard fence. So you know, I mean, how, you want to do it? You want to play? You want to rock? Let's rock. Let's get Nickelodeon showing what really happens with war instead of going, oh, you're safe. You know, it's okay because we went and splattered your peers across the world against the buildings. I mean, you know, don't worry about it. You're okay because we killed them first. Really? Seriously? I mean, you want to have this discussion? You want to get the next generation involved in this thing? Let's rock. But don't sit there and pick and choose and say, somehow try to rationalize why we're blowing up children over there and think you're the good guys.
Well, I think that President Obama has repeatedly emphasized what is sometimes called exceptionalism. If the United States is killing, maiming, even torturing other people, we're doing it for a justifiable reason. We're doing it to provide safety. But if any other group is doing such activities, we won't tolerate it, and it's wrong, and we'll go after them. So this kind of exceptionalism is what contributes, I think, toward a great deal of antagonism towards the United States.
Well, how do you think he's going to use that in the presidential election cycle? I mean, do you think Obama's finally going to come out? He's the peace president? And, you know, is it he going to try to earn his Nobel badge?
You know, I'm not sure. I don't understand these huge juggernauts of power and what's required to try and turn things around. There's a possibility that he would like to be a president who is known for helping turn this country away from the addiction to war. But it certainly hasn't been evident in any of his statements or in the appointments that he's made or in his willingness to actually greatly increase the number of drone attacks since the Bush administration. So, you know what to do. I think that on the local level, with regard to elections of senators and representatives, we might stand a chance to focus on some of the people that are a bit vulnerable in terms of re-election and go into their offices and say, we want to hear from you. Tell us how these policies benefit all the U.S. people. And I think this is an important thing that people should do to maybe go repeatedly to those offices, maybe undertake a partial fast in front of an office, but really to think about what happened in Tahrir Square when people didn't just have a one-day event and go away, but really start to make a priority in our lives the effort to turn our grievances into a political act that these.
Well, I tell you, Kathy, let me tell you something that's keeping that from happening here. And I know you may disagree on the, I don't know, maybe not disagree with the tactic, but the morality of it. It's because we're not as hungry physically as the people in the Middle East. When you have the economy going down, when you have 40% live on less than $4 a day, when you have food go up twice what it was a year before, and you're hungry, you're in the streets. You don't want to be hungry anymore. But what do they do here? More food stamps. Oh, we got to keep the people out of the streets. You see where I'm going with that? People, they're not going to go in the streets until they have to. And with this social net, it's not to protect the people from the economic collapse. It's to protect the government from the people. That's my opinion. Kathy Kelly, thanks for coming on. There's a real advocate for peace. Go to vcnv.org. Voices for Creative Nonviolence.
Thank you, Ernest.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks, Sierra.
You bet. We'll be right back here in just a little bit. Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.